People are so skeptical, seeing all the AI shit everywhere, not knowing what to believe.
Yeah, we're still English. We just don't want to admit it. And my audience is not used to me selling things. And what's even worse is that I'm not used to selling things. And so I'm like, what the hell am I going to do?
To myself, I will relax. Like, I can't relax. Let's reframe it.
It's been fucking awesome.
There you go.
Welcome everybody to Let's Talk Dog Business, and we have a very special guest from across the pond with us today. We have Josh from, I'm going to say this correctly, K9 Optima with us today. Welcome, Josh.
Hello, everybody.
Yay. How are you doing all the way across over the pond?
Good. It's not blazing hot this time of year. It's like 110 degrees and I can't think or can't breathe when I'm in session, but the El Nino has kept it very cool this year, so I'm super happy.
Where is it you're based exactly?
So we are 30 miles above San Francisco in the Bay Area in California.
Oh, I love San Francisco. Yeah. Take me there.
We've got all the heat.
Yeah, we have got the heat here.
I'm a weather wimp. I can't handle the heat, so I'm so happy.
Love it. So for people that will not maybe have an idea of who you are, well, firstly, who are you? Where have you been hiding under a rock? But Josh, if you could let everybody know who you are, that would be amazing.
So my name is Josh. I'm the founder and owner of K9 Optima, which is a very small but mighty dog training company located in the Bay Area. We are approaching 6 years of operation. Since I started dog training, everything has kind of branched into other very weird and unexpected things, and I'm just kind of along for the ride. But I have a podcast called The Infinite Approach. I've got a book that we just published. I've got communities. I make T-shirts, anything attention deficit disorder you could imagine getting into in dog training.
He's got merch.
Everyone's got merch.
Love a bit of merch. So
I don't sell the merch, but I have it. Yeah.
You have the merch. I want to lock onto small but mighty. What does the mighty bit mean?
Well, the small is me. The mighty is my wife that keeps me on track to do things. So it's I don't have any employees. It's been me since the beginning. Not necessarily the type of dog trainer to go out and grab a facility and have a big infrastructure. I led infrastructures before I got back into dog training, and I managed people for 17 years. And it was one of the least favorite things. So in getting back into dog training, I wanted to stay lean and mean and just do the things that I really like doing in dog training and make sure that I'm staying close to the stuff that I love so that I don't incur the same burnout that I incurred in my previous career.
I love all of this because actually the perception of your business, certainly from the outside anyway, is that it has a huge infrastructure. I can't even say that word, infrastructure. How do you think that perception comes across? Because I suppose certainly from where we're sitting, it is very heavily focused on the social media front, which I think allows everybody else to kind of see what you're doing. And I love the documentation of everything. So yeah, kind of what is it that you feel is kind of like the most important thing in your business to allow that perception to seem that it is a super mighty business?
I don't know. I think I've always stayed close to just showing people what I'm doing, showing people, like telling people what I think, right, wrong, or indifferent, how I feel. I've always tried to just be kind of transparent. I have never been able to factor a script in and copywriting and read scripts. And I've just always been, this is what I'm thinking currently. So it's been very much like a fly on the wall. This is what Josh is doing at K9 Optima for the past 6 years. And it hasn't been really so centered around dog training, right? If you love dogs, then it factors in other aspects of the animal welfare industry. So a big part of our social media in the beginning was saving dogs and going into shelters and pulling dogs off the euthanasia list. And so that became a huge arm in the company. And I would probably be willing to wager that if you were to really boil down why I have so many followers, if you were to look at like the 600,000 followers, I would say the majority of it came from saving dogs and making funny videos. Very small amount came from actually training dogs. None of my dog training videos ever go viral. They're very boring. So comparatively, I think people like the humor and they love the emotional element with, going in and pulling dogs before they get euthanized. So I would say that became the biggest stride and success in social media. And then obviously I got the benefit of getting to leverage that for my business, getting to show people, oh, and by the way, I do train dogs. And so that's probably the biggest focus for the first 3 years.
Yeah, it's I love watching your social media stuff, and I think we talk a lot about like personal branding and being able to kind of know who you are and be comfortable in your own skin. And I mean, you know this industry as well as any of us, and it's a little bit of a shit show out there. So what allows you to be so confident in your own skin that you can show up as authentically as you do?
Funny enough, my favorite thing has always been public speaking. I don't know what it is. In my previous career, it's what made me very successful. For some odd reason, when I would go on stage and I would be presenting curriculums or speaking in front of, crowds, a light turned on for me. I don't know if it's the pressure. I don't know if it's feeling like I'm connecting with people and talking to people, but I loved it. It's what kept me in that career for a really long time. So getting into dog training and being a teacher, and then adding the social media element where I get to connect and talk to crowds, I get to connect and talk to a large audience, and even, with my live sessions. So there's not really another trainer that goes live for all of his sessions. And, last weekend, I was live for 5 dogs straight on Sunday, and we had probably 12,000 people watch me train dogs for 5 hours on Sunday. Mm-hmm. And so that element of people are watching, they're tuning in, they're talking to one another, they're asking questions. I don't know. I don't think I could actually do a dog training session off camera now because of the feeling of people are watching. Make sure you know what you're talking about before you speak. Make sure you don't make any mistakes in front of a whole bunch of people so somebody screen records and comes after you. And so I think it's the pressure element that really wakes me up a little bit and keeps me in tune and present in the session.
I love that you love all of those things about it, because most people will be like, fuck that. Like, that's enough to send somebody mad, surely.
It's strange, but after years, it's just a part of how I operate, and I have people that have been watching me for 5 years. I have probably a core group of 50 people that have been watching me every single weekend for 5 years without, fail. And it's an interesting thing that they can, 8 a.m., they watch me go into the backyard and the client's about to arrive and I'm eating a Jimmy Dean sausage biscuit and waking up, and then the dogs come in. And it's been like that for 4 years live on TikTok. So I don't know, it feels a lot. It feels like an opportunity to connect to more people other than your clients, which I'm really into.
That's nice. I feel like you like all that. Well, we both like it, but you specifically really like the connecting stuff.
I'm not sure I'd like the live element.
Not the live
element. It all went wrong.
I'd quite
You'd like that.
Element. Yeah, I think I'm with you, Josh, on that. It's like the pressure to, weirdly, I always feel like I operate at my best when I'm under pressure. And in fact, we've just recently finished CBA Live, our 2-day conference, and our videographer, photographer person came up to us whilst we'd set everybody on a task on stage. So we just had like downtime on stage in front of people.
Or so we thought.
Yeah. And he came over and he's like, right, you've got 6 minutes here as an opportunity to record some content. And he just shoved a mic in my hand and a little camera thing. And he's like, right, go. And I'm like, oh, okay, quick think, go. And this one just shuts down because she can't cope with that kind of stuff. Like, it has to be a little bit, you have to mold it over a little bit.
Yeah, I have to have processed it and got to grips with what I'm saying and what it's going to sound like in my head. And she just goes and goes for it. And I'm like, I wish I could do that, but I just can't. I can't do it.
I don't know if it's any good quality that comes out of my mouth, but the ability to, kind of like thrive under pressure, I really like that. And I can certainly relate to it, but I can see why a lot of people would run away from that because it's not a done thing, is it?
I think the pressure, I don't know, being present. Sometimes when I'm in session or even when I'm doing webinars or even interviewing for podcasts, I'll get into the zone and I'm having such a good time. And if you ask me by the time it's over what I said, I couldn't remember, and I'll go back to my sessions. I'll be like, I said that? That's really, I'll even in my webinars, I'll break down case studies. And I've gotten into the habit of shutting up when I go to recap things or talk about what I'm doing in session to my community on the K9 Optima app, because I know that I'll explain it better in session than I will in the webinar. So I'll just be like, I'm not going to say anything. Listen to what I have to say here. He's a hell of a lot better of explaining it than, something more, smaller groups and, conversations and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Then, so let's cast back then to those 6 or so years ago then when you started. What was the purpose of you starting your dog training business?
Actually, sorry, had you...
She's interjected on
No, but I was just going to say this might be relevant to it as well. Had you finished as a teacher and then started, or had you started it alongside of it? Did you have to make the decision to stop So
I was a corporate investigator for 17 years, and I'd started as a lowly door greeter, and then I was doing LP where I would be like an undercover, shopper and retailers, and I would watch people steal, and then I would apprehend them at the door, and then I became a manager where I would teach the agents underneath me and stores, operational stuff. And then I kind of got into district manager where I was running 10 stores, and then regional manager where I was running 250 stores. And then I ascended into the corporate mothership and started running teams out of the headquarters doing corporate investigations. And in that corporate setting, I was able to stand in front of teams and deliver curriculums and, speak in front of crowds. And I loved that part, but I hated the cubicle part. Like, I did the most interesting thing you could do in a cubicle, catching people, stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars, and import-export schemes, and, task force, and bringing, police departments in the fold with making apprehensions. But the cubicle life was driving me nuts. And so I had trained dogs way back when I left the Marine Corps, and I just fell out of love with rising up in the corporate structure. My boss was miserable. His boss was miserable. His boss's boss was miserable. And it was just doom and gloom. And I just lost touch with the thing that I loved. And so I decided to get back into dog training, did the normal thing, worked at a board and train facility, cleaned some kennels, started training dogs for the board and train, and then felt like I had my feet underneath me. So I started my own company.
Nice. And what was the kind of vision you had for the dog training business then?
Well, it wasn't what I saw. So I think that the biggest turning point for me was working at a very large facility that had 60 kennels and a breeding program and protection, grooming process for working breeds and sessions and boot camps. And I saw all that stuff, and I saw the headache that it came with. I saw dogs being sick and injured, and kennel cough, and all the dogs get sent home, and dogs are attacking the trainers, and I got attacked. So I realized very quickly, like, if that's what the future looks like for having a facility and people underneath me, I don't want it. And so that was really pivotal in, okay, well, if that's not my future, what do I want? Which was really beneficial because I probably would have tried. I was a manager before. I'm totally capable of, leasing a warehouse and bringing in some people. But had I not seen that outcome, I would not have steered the ship to no. Like, I left my career because there were things that I just didn't want to do anymore. I'm at the tail end of my career. I'm 44 years old. Like, money isn't important. What's important is that I'm really happy with what I do, that I wake up every day and I'm excited with what I do. And the way I've kept things, and it just being me and, the social media thing and the community thing, it worked out because there's never been a night that I went to sleep that I had dogs the next day that I've ever thought, oh God, like that Sunday blues that you get, you're like, oh crap, here we go. Like, I gotta go to work tomorrow. Not once have I ever thought that. And to the contrary, if I take a little bit of a vacation, like 2 weeks, I miss it. A weekend, I'm like, oh, this is fun. And then a week and a half, I'm like, well, miss dogs. Like, oh man, I'd love to get back into sessions. And then I get really excited to get back into sessions and meet dogs and people. And so it worked out. It's definitely true to form with what excites me most about this career.
So, there's a couple of things in there that you said. So, firstly is the facility thing. We have this so often that people have the dream of the facility, having the venue and running it under an umbrella of all these different things. And in reality, it ends up being a complete headache for so many people because it takes away from the joy part. And then that links back to what you were saying about waking up every day and loving what you do and having that like spring in your step and never having the dreads and all that sort of stuff. And I think once you build a business that's really true to you and feels like you embody every type of it, every part of it, and it feels like, from what I can hear, that's how you are operating every day. What a difference. But I think that facility thing is so hardwired, not only in the US, but in the UK. Like loads of people want that kind of, I don't know, it's like the dream, isn't it? To have all of these. And I get it. I get where they're coming from with it. But I do feel like it does lose that joy factor. So for you being able to live that kind of dream through not having that, have you ever regretted it? Have you ever thought, oh, maybe I should be this big empire that you know, I've got all these things under my belt? Or are you absolutely good with it?
I think if I wanted to put all 5 kids through college, I would do it, you know? But it's not even a trajectory around, okay, maybe I should scale and, you know, make hand over fist way more money. And even for a lot of people, they get to exit out of the dog training component. If you really think about these big facilities, the owners are not on the leash anymore, right? And so it gives you an opportunity to step back and be a business owner. And I think some people they're cut for that and they want that. But if the most exciting thing to happen in a day is you helping a dog, talking to clients, then I think there's no amount of money in the world that would bring that luster back into the field. And even being sensitive to what I want to do, it also shapes the type of dogs, the type of business that I run. So I love behavior. I love new dogs, new people, new circumstances. I love the problem solving element. And so I do not like obedience. You know, I'll do obedience from here to there. There's been, you know, years that I've cut the obedience service entirely, which is like, I'm really fortunate that I can do that and I can still be busy because I have enough behavior cases that I can stay full and stay busy. But I'm even sensitive to like, I just don't want to do that style of dog training. I don't like delivering the same scripts over and over and over and the same problems over and over and over. And I like new, I like interesting, I like, you know, obscure. And that really gets me going, just even inside of the framework of what type of dog trainer I want to be.
Yeah. I love that. And I feel like sometimes we're overcomplicating the fact that to be a dog trainer, you have to have all these different things. And it's like, no, I can just have the dog in front of me, the owner attached to that dog, work on the thing that I'm really, really good at and produce the results for people. And really, that's it. That's all we're trying to do, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's obviously big and you have to connect with people. You got to want to like work with people too, right? There's like this old adage that people want to jump into dog training because they love dogs and they're not so great with people. But the people element, getting to know people, you know, familiarizing yourself with all the things that are wrong, all the things that have impacted them for so long, connecting with them, getting them super jazzed about what you're talking about. So they're like, yeah, we're going to do this. I'm going to enjoy the process. And then what a wonderful thing. You got the dog element. Like you get to know a dog and it's virtually the same thing. Like identical what you do with people, you do with dogs in session, down to like problem solving and connecting with them.
Yeah, something that we say a lot is you're in the business of people, not dogs, because the dogs are the byproduct of you getting that message across to the humans and being the support, being the backbone of everything for those humans, and the dog benefits as a result. So, yeah.
It does amaze me how many dog trainers there are that struggle with the people aspect.
Yeah. Getting into it for all the wrong reasons.
I was like, there is 99% chance that there is a human attached to that dog. Otherwise, how are you going to work with them?
Go work in rescue. Go work in a shelter. Then you can
it's
be like that.
it is though, isn't it? Like you see a lot of negativity around the human aspect of it, of like, oh, clients are shit, clients don't give two fucks about their dog, and I didn't get into this to be a marriage counsellor and all of
You
this
kind of
stuff.
did.
It's like, well, it's all kind of wrapped up in one, and we have to deal with the people aspect as well. Something I want to pick up on actually on what you mentioned a moment ago was the idea around getting to do the thing that you love, which is working with the dogs. And, you know, some people are cut for running a business, if you will, like really stepping into that CEO mindset. And then others are, like on the ground, let's do the stuff. So how do you believe, either from your own experience or from what you see just in industry, that those that are more wanting to work with the dog, how are they able to try and make the dog business viable for them if they're going to struggle with the business side of it?
Wow. I think there is a creative type in dog training. I think there's obviously a science, of course, when you think about like the business and all the administrative aspects. And then there's an art form, and dog training is an art form. You're always learning and unlearning. You're, always evolving. You're always coming across new things and having to, pivot and rethink things. And I think there's a creative person drawn to dog training, and it's a big struggle for that creative person to get organized and do the day-to-day and, pay the bills and, follow up with clients. But I think that, if you are doing the thing that keeps the wind in your sails, then you've got a little bit in the gas tank to do the stuff that is kind of mind-numbing, right? The day-to-day and the follow-up. And so I think that for people that feel burnt out, the question probably isn't around, oh, maybe you're not into dog training or maybe you're not in the business element. It's probably more about that you're not doing the things specifically with dog training that turns that light on, that gives you a breath of fresh air and gives you more energy to tackle the stuff that you really don't want to do. So staying close to that, I think, gives you the more or less the willpower to take care of the stuff that's just not fun.
I think that's such a good point.
It is such a good point. Where do you think that comes from for people? Like that whole, because I think there's loads of us that do it, isn't it? It's like you don't spend enough time doing the thing, like filling up your own cup.
Yeah.
And I think this is where people interpret that really differently. Like I think there's lots of things about self-care and all of this stuff. And actually, I've been through loads of like self-care things before. I'm going to air quote it because it wasn't
going to a spa.
Yes, it wasn't my version of self-care. I'm like, hold on. That doesn't relax me. So have you ever been like, I'm forcing myself, I will relax. Like I can't relax.
She finds it really hard to relax.
I need to do something else. But yeah, like why, I hate questions with why, but like, yeah, like why and what is it that makes us not do the thing we love enough?
Well, I mean, there's a couple things. One, you can get burnt out. You can do the thing you love too much. I think there's a double-edged sword, which you probably experience, like as a person that's on the go, and we got to do these things. Like there's a finite amount of energy. There's so many hours you can sleep, and even waking up and doing the thing you love can run you ragged. And so, yeah, the self-care thing is really important. Figuring out what recharges your batteries and allowing for that, making sure that, you're making memories outside of your business. And as a business owner, it can consume you and it becomes a part of you. It becomes a part of your identity. You think about it all the time. You have to. I mean, you're constantly emails and DMs and text messages and scheduling. And so there's never a moment that you're not a business owner. And so you've got to be mindful of who you are outside of the business, right? If you're a husband, if you're a father, you've got to make sure that you're making memories, core memories outside of the core memories that you might be creating in session. Because for a lot of us, especially those that have family, like they're not business owners. My 5 kids are not business owners. My 5 kids are not dog trainers. And so I have to make sure that I'm setting aside time to make core memories as a dad and make core memories as a husband. And oftentimes I find that moment where I just get to appreciate my family and do wonderful things and hang out with them by the pool, like that's the type of stuff that keeps me balanced so that I can pour myself into the thing that I'm obsessed about and the thing that I love.
And what would you say are the things that have allowed you to do that within the business? So what have you put in place within the structure of that business for you to be able to spend time away from it, to spend time with your family and enjoy all of those things?
Bourbon.
That was not the answer I was expecting, but I like it.
No, I'm serious. It sounds kind of crazy, but my wife and I, we have a rule that, at the end of the day after training dogs, and we take some time together, we pour a glass of bourbon and we hang out with each other and we stay off of our phones and we enjoy the kids. We also try to plan trips. We've had like wonderful time with the family. We've gone to Tahoe with the kids and, gone to, gotten a cabin by the river with the kids. And it just, in our minds, it's been so wonderful to do that and to think back at how awesome that was. And so we try to stay consistent with setting aside time and just unplugging. And, my wife and I are, we're both very similar. She is like really busy and she's a workaholic and she's very good at her job and she's wonderful. And so, we kind of feed off of each other. And so it's kind of great that we both need this thing. We both look forward to this thing and sort of protect our sanity by making sure that we protect time with one another and the kids.
Yeah, it is hard, isn't it, to try and juggle it all. And I think this is where these phrases like work-life balance gets thrown in. And then, God, I think that just stresses people out, just that phrase, because I don't believe that there's a balance. I think you've got some really busy seasons and then you've got some not so busy seasons. And then it's trying to figure out how to actually make life work for you. And I think this is where we all have to check in with ourselves a lot more often than we're probably ever used to doing and going like, what is important to me and how can I make sure that I am making time to do these things. And I think it's just so easy to get caught up and wrapped up in everything else, in thinking like, oh, I'm not a good enough dog trainer yet, so I need to keep studying. I'm not a good business owner yet, so I need to keep investing in that. My marketing isn't where it needs to be, so I need to go and keep working on that and all the stuff. And yeah, how do you go about thinking about all of those different things?
Well, if you think about our generation, we grew up in a household where I don't care what kind of professional your parents were, their job did not have access to them the way that our jobs in today's society has access to us.
Yeah.
You could unplug and maybe the phone on the wall, maybe the rotary phone rang and your boss had something to say to you, but there were no emails, there was no cell phone. And so we grew up in a time where our parents could be parents and then they clocked in and did the job and came home and were parents again. And so the funny thing is that nowadays, like, business is at your door, banging on the door, sheriff's warrant style, every second of the day. And now with social media and running your business through social media, I mean, there's this feeling like you have to, stay abreast to all the DMs that you're getting and the comments that are happening on your posts. And your business can take over all the mental and emotional real estate if you let it. And so I think being mindful of, structure and being mindful of how much time am I truly dedicating to my family? And have we done something together? Do we need to go on a trip? Do we need to go out to dinner and have a good time? Being as mindful about planning the family activities as you probably are at planning your business is probably the answer.
Yeah. And do you ever have those thoughts when you are, and it sounds like you don't, but just to confirm, when you're out enjoying yourself, do you like think, oh my God, the business, what's happening in the business? Do I need to be there? Am I pulled? You try not to maybe, but mentally your head kind of goes to that. Or do you feel completely relaxed when you're in that off kind of mode?
It's very hard. I went through stints where, based on the project that I was involved in, I became obsessed. Like the book that I wrote that published a month ago. This took me 3 years to make, between a year and a half of making the book and then a year and a half of like 5 rounds of edits with editors. It was around the clock, and my wife, like, she was so wonderful about it. She let me talk through things. She'd listen to what I have to say and let me bounce ideas off. And she'd listen to me when I was super stressed out because the editor, pushed the book back and I had to rewrite the entire book again. And so there was this huge stint where it was all consuming, and it had to be if I'm going to produce something that, is going to be scrutinized across the entire industry. And she recognized that. And so even coming off the tail end of 3 years of just round the clock thinking and obsession, like, I owe it to her to make sure that, like, I'm present now, because she had a lot of sacrifice in that time frame and understood why it was so important. And so I owe it to her to pay it forward with, like, all right, like, get off your phone and give back to the family, do some stuff, and don't let it, control your, the chatter in your skull, if you will.
Yeah. And again, it's down to that, like, it's a season, isn't it? It's a thing you've got to get done, and it's all consuming. And as long as everyone's aware of that, it won't be forever. And I think this is where business, it has to be like that sometimes. And especially, like, if you're trying to build something impactful, if you're trying to do things that are going to help others, like that book is going to help others, there's going to have to be that kind of give and take around it. But I think it's when people are busy all the time, there's no off, there's no, like, if I dip out for like half a day, the whole fucking thing's going to fall apart. And this is where I think having those strategies around what can we do then to build that business so that it's not going to fall apart if I'm away on vacation for a week. And, and I guess for us, it's trying to figure out what's everybody's personal ways of doing that. Is it down to having a really clear strategy? Is it down to making sure that you have fewer clients so that you don't have to spread yourself so thinly? Because something that's massive here, which I'm sure it is there, is like compassion fatigue, is like that absolute giving your all to people and then not being able to switch off. So you do get people that have the ability to switch off and then can't do it and go, all I keep thinking about is all these dogs and all these people that need me and I'm not here for it. So yeah, do you experience that yourself? How have you managed that, if that's the case, or do you see that in the industry?
It's definitely a thing. And as much as, we talk about how, like, you're bombarded now with social media and, like, you've got your control of your marketing and success there. And, there's constant influx of communication that you've got to respond to. With that, there's also something that you can do about it. So now with the age of digital and creating courses and, communities, now dog trainers have the opportunity to scale to a place where they don't have to just clock in and be a dog trainer to pay their mortgage. You can start a community, you can create a tutorial, you can create a course, you can write a book, and you can scale your business in a way that you can stop training dogs for a second. You can unplug and you can still make money. So an old quote that I heard that got me thinking about this when I first started to write the book was, I forget who said it, but they said, if you can't figure out how to make money while you sleep, then you're destined to work yourself to death. And so the big part of the book, aside from, like, doing something awesome in the industry and taking that stride, was, can I create revenue without having to clock in and be a dog trainer, so that if I do start to get a little bit, oh God, there's still an arm of the business that continually makes money. I don't have to be, I don't have to push the boulder uphill for a paycheck every second of the day.
It's I'm glad you've brought that up, actually, because I think this is something that, again, has become really prevalent over the last couple of years, of business models needing to have that element of that passive income, that recurring revenue coming in. And it is absolutely an important thing to think about. I think what we see a lot of is people trying to do it almost at the wrong stage that they're at. Like they're either just starting out and then, I love this nod. We need to clip it. Like, yes, thank you. Because we're trying to do everything all in one go. And I'm like, you've barely just like left the building of either the course you've just studied to become a dog trainer. And now you're wanting to do a course, a membership, a community, one-on-one classes. And I'm like, fuck me, like just slow down. Let's do one thing really, really well, and then you can grow into it. I need to ask you what your face is about, because I love it.
Well, now, I mean, like everyone's making money off of like, build your app, we'll help you build your app. Here's a course, click a button and you got a course. You can have, a robot build the course for you, and ChatGPT do all the heavy lifting, and you can automate everything. And so, yeah, I think it's really like a lot of people, they see the money that you can make from that too. Like, I know we have a niche industry, and I don't think there's anyone out there in dog training that's selling courses for $1 million a month, but it's very common, in other spaces, marketers, brands, PR firms, they can put a course together and they can quite literally make $1 million a month doing it. And so it's very alluring to, oh my gosh, like I can be a millionaire. I could be a multimillionaire just selling a tutorial in dog training. And for most of us, that's just not the case, and what people don't realize is that the course space and the community space is highly competitive. So as fast and as easy as it is for you to, build that course and sell it, like you're throwing a pebble into a pond, and it's a pretty busy pond. So you're absolutely correct. Like, you have to, if you're going to sell something, it's got to be something new. It's got to be something extremely impactful. It can't be built by ChatGPT. Like, it's got to be from the heart. It's got to be something that took you a long time to understand, because all the wonderful things that AI can do, it can't invent things. It can repeat things. It can summarize things. It can regurgitate things that it's aware of on the internet, but it can't create things. And dog training is all about creating something different, a new approach. And unfortunately, you have to be in front of an animal on a leash and work tons of animals to get there, to say, hey, I've worked 1,000 dogs, and here are some things that might help you out with your dog.
Oh, I love that answer. We get shot down a fair bit, actually, because I think the perception we've heard is that we're against online courses and memberships and all of this, and that's absolutely not the case in the slightest. It's about making sure it's doing it at the right stage of business that you're in, because of needing that. For the most part, if you're going to start competing in the digital space, that element of personal brand is so important. And we've been doing some episodes recently on how to kind of stand out against the AI slop that is out there, and it is very much about having your own opinion. Being opinionated and being a dick doesn't have to go hand in hand. You can have your own opinion, build up your personal brand, and fly your own flag for the belief system that you hold. And that is ultimately what's going to then build that audience for you, so that when you do release something out to the big wide world, you're following, even if that's just 5% of people that's out there. And I think this is what a lot of us don't necessarily, I don't want to say understand, because it feels a little bit demeaning, but I just don't think we're aware of the stats that actually 5%, if you've got 5% of the marketplace, like you're doing pretty well. You don't need to have massive numbers, but actually building a personal brand is something that we will live and die by that message, because I think it's something that all of us need, and I think it's a lot of things that dog trainers aren't focusing on.
When I first started out, I wasn't selling anything on social media. It was very much like, look at what we're doing. We're saving dogs, and I'm training dogs, and here's a funny skit, like laugh, and it went on like that for a really long time. And then I took Jacob from Yorkshire's social media course. He was actually nice about it. He sent it to me. He's like, hey, check this out. He probably saw my social media. He's like, you need this, seriously. And so he sent it to me, and I watched his social media course, and I'm 4 years into the social media game. I'm successful in social media. And I looked at my wife and I went, I have been doing it all wrong.
Yeah.
Like I haven't been selling anything. I haven't been funneling anything. I'm not following the formula, the tried and true formula to take the audience from your personal brand and convert, and even now I'm finding it really challenging because I'm so far down the road and my audience is not used to me selling things. And what's even worse is that I'm not used to selling things. And so I'm like, what the hell am I going to do? And so you have this funny thing where personal brand is important, but also your audience needs to be, one, you have to be good at marketing, and two, your audience has to be prepared for you to attempt to market. You look at, brands like Yorkshire K9 Academy, every single video is selling you something and you don't know it. You're not aware of it. It doesn't feel icky. You're happy to watch the videos and there's going to be a funnel at the end of it. And so there's a difference between that audience of however many, probably the same amount of people. We probably have an identical amount of followers, across all platforms, but their audience is finely tuned to the marketing aspect and mine is not. And so now I'm trying to play catch up with, okay, I got to sell stuff, but what's my marketing voice? How do I stay true to who I am and still say, hey guys, like I've made some things and I would really love it if it took me a long time, please buy it, right? What's my voice when it comes to marketing, which is still something I'm trying to find.
Yeah. Firstly, I love the way you say Yorkshire.
It's good. I was thinking
how do you say it?
Yorkshire.
Is it?
Yeah. But your way's better. I feel like it is better.
Yorkshire.
See why I clarified the name
like
at the start?
a Lord of the Rings type of thing.
The Shire.
The Shire.
Yeah. Frodo Baggins.
I had heard that there's a statistic that Yorkshire is named Shire because of all the little people. And I had noticed that like Jacob's relatively short and a lot of it's back as well. So I just assumed Shire from Lord of the Rings.
I live in Worcester. I live in Worcestershire, so Worcestershire. And I don't think that's true for Worcestershire. There's lots of shires in the UK.
I like it though.
I'm from the South, and the South we call Worcestershire wash your sister.
Oh, okay. Is there a reason?
No, just so
we were really surprised. We came to Boston last year because we spoke at Kim Brophy's Legs conference, and we were so shocked with how many English named places there were around there. We were like, you've pinched all of our names.
Yeah, we're still English. We just don't want to admit it.
Yeah, like there's so many. We're like, and another. Mm-hmm. But that wasn't the reason I was saying that. I wanted to point that out first of all, but second of all, yes, the personal brand bit without the strategy is kind of a bit pointless. And we'd kind of done the same thing, not to the extent of you, because our piddly tiny little Facebook group at the time, we'd been showing up live.
It's still a bit piddly.
It is still a bit piddly, just under 1,000 people in there. But hey ho, it's a nice group of people that are all very interested.
You don't need big numbers to make decent cash though.
If they're the right people, doesn't matter. So we had this even teenier, tinier Facebook group, and we were showing up live, doing these trainings in there every day. And we never once thought, we need to actually sell the thing and let people know what it is we do. And then we were the same, weren't we? Like, how are we going to do this without it feeling icky and sleazy and like a bit money grabby?
Yeah. And it's even harder when you teach the bloody stuff as well.
Yeah. Because we'd kind of gone too far the other way, a bit like you're saying now. But it's kind of a good problem because at least you've got the audience and you've captured that trust with the personal brand bit.
I think I haven't cracked the code, so I can't speak like too quickly about it, but I have this feeling because there is something to like the formula. And funny enough, like the biggest names in social media and dog training, like they're doing the same thing that the previous person did, like the Will Atherton as a canine behaviorist, like it's always the same formula and it works for a reason. But in the back of my mind, I'm not that. I've never been that, but I'm different. And so I think there is something to be said for being different and being yourself and getting support and being able to make money doing it. And then, yes, like getting your ducks in a row with like, how do I be a better marketer? Like, how do I, communicate in a way that keeps people's attention and, still myself and not so yuckity yuck. Right. And so I think that, I think people might at some point get tired of that same formula, the whole hook, anecdotal dog information, funnel to the free webinar, convert to the high ticket service. Like people are going to get pretty wise to that. And you think about back in the day when Amazon was really popular and people stopped shopping in stores entirely and the brick and mortar retail industry almost caved in. And then people went, cool, like we can get packages now. I miss standing in front of things. I miss learning about it. And so then you saw a revitalization of the brick and mortar industry because people went, cool, it was awesome. Now it's a thing. And now I'm not so consumed by it. And so I think that there is a pendulum or a slingshotting effect with anything. And I do think that forward thinking in social media dog training, I think people are going to be looking more for individuals and not so much the same tried true formula that they hear from all the content creators.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's that trust, that personal brand bit will always now exceed all the other stuff, like you say, the typical formulas, because it just needs more substance. People are so skeptical, seeing all the AI shit everywhere, not knowing what to believe. And, like we're just shopping on that for the most part. Like, and it's, if you are there with your opinions and your funny ways and like, people very often feedback about this podcast, like you're not just there talking to each other in a really formal way. You're just pissing around a little bit. You're having a laugh about it. We have our stories that kind of weave into it. And I'm sure you're the same on yours. And that is what people are buying into. They're buying into your, not only what it is you do, your credibility, the fact you can get them a result. It's all of that stuff like means way more.
Yeah, I think I think I get the sense that if somebody met you, this is exactly how you are. And if somebody meets me in the street, like I'm exactly who I am. You call me on the phone, I talk just like this. This is who I am, and I think that there's something awesome about that because regardless of, what it might suggest, if you are yourself when you clock in, then it's easier. I don't have to play a part. I don't have to write a script. I don't have to be a persona. All that stuff takes more effort before I put it out into the universe. And I'm not myself while I'm doing it. And so going back to like some of the reasons that I left the corporate side of things is that I just wanted to speak freely. I just wanted to think for myself. I just wanted to say what I want to say. And so there's freedom in just being yourself and, putting your stuff out there in the world. And maybe you won't make as much money, but it won't be as soul sucking and you'll have a hell of a lot more fun doing it. And you'll have a hell of a lot more laughs while you're doing it too, because you're living while you're, doing this thing, you're working.
Yeah. And that is exactly how it should be. And it so saddens us when people still can't be themselves. So they've left a corporate job, for example, like you did, to have more freedom, to have all these benefits of it, to be themselves. And then they feel the restrictions of the industry. Let's face it, really, they put these restrictions on themselves, but they're feeling pressured by can't do this, can't say that, can't do the other. We're going to get shot down for this, that, and the other. And we just find that so sad. And we do everything we can to support people to be themselves and to be unapologetically them and to like, fuck it. But there's a lot of work to do with a lot of trainers out there that are struggling with this, Yeah.
Everybody is watching, and that's I think that I do feel for them. Like I felt that too. Nowadays, like social media is really important to market. If you want to compete with the big pillars in your locality, people that have been around for 30 years, like social media is your way to say, hey guys, I'm training dogs and I can do it. And maybe give me a shot, watch what I do. But with that, everyone's watching. And so you have these new trainers that are, trying to get in front of a camera or even, God forbid, show their work. And maybe they don't have it all figured out yet. Maybe they're just focusing on the fundamentals and, the internet's there to do its job and just pour onto them and scrutinize them and troll them. And so it sucks. Like you have to develop tough skin. And you really need to stay close to like what you love. You know, I think that, like, to your guys' point, if people get a sense of your passion and, you know, get a sense of you, don't worry about the technical aspect. Don't worry about the technique. Don't worry about sounding smart and throwing all the terminology. Just like, what do you love about what's going on? What have you learned about this dog? Like, what are you trying to do? And I think everybody can identify with that, regardless of what side of methodology you're on. Everybody, you know, empathizes with that space.
Yeah. I really like that view on it, and just actually, it is almost using social media as a little bit of like a documentation, isn't it? It's like, actually, let me just show up, let me just share my thoughts on these things. But the thing that is, and we knew that this was a prevalent thing in the industry, but even just coming back off of 2 days of being in a room full of people that have come to our conference, it's such a big thing for a lot of trainers out there, certainly more on the force-free side of it. The fear of being able to show up in the fear of being shot down by the other camp or by people even still within the force-free community. And we're like, again, this is just like really, really sad. And it's just awful that we're ultimately doing this to each other. Like, the industry is doing this to itself. And it's almost how can we build up confidence within ourselves to be able to put ourselves out there when that fear is so strong, and there are people with opinions. And, you know, I'm certain that there will be listeners out there now, because you've mentioned Yorkshire, K9 Academy and Will Atherton. The internal cringe will be like, oh my gosh, we've said these words. But these are real feelings that people are having, aren't they?
Yeah. I think, what is it? You guys know who Ollie G is, right? He's from your side of the pond. Do you remember Ollie G?
Yeah.
If video games have taught me anything, it's that when you see enemies, you're going the right way.
Oh, love this.
But it's the thing I remind a lot of younger trainers that, you know, I do like mentor stuff, and a lot of trainers want to come to me for the social media element and like, hey, how do you do it? How do I get started? And the one thing I prepare them for is, if you are successful on social media, that means that you're going to connect to a wide audience. And there will be people that give you credit that you do not deserve, people that are ride or die for you and are all about everything that you do. If you are successful on social media, that's the wide net that you've cast in your post, doing well and connecting to tens of thousands, if not millions of people. And for that to be true, there will be an equal and opposite. If you are going to be given credit that you do not deserve, then people are going to say things that you don't deserve to hear. And so recognizing that as a reality of connecting to a wide audience and being successful on social media, just know that it's a part of it. And you're going to hear all the terrible things that people say, and you're going to feel it. And in my experience, you only feel it once, you know, and 6 years down the road, somebody says something really left field, and you're like, no one's ever called me that before. So like, it's just part of it, and you just have to feel it. You just got to get through it if you want to be in the space and have everybody paying attention to what you're doing and saying. Like that. That's just part of it.
We had a conversation actually at the conference around marketing and why does some people's marketing work really well and why does some people's not. And we kind of called out like we mentioned Yorkshire K9 Academy, I think, and Southend Dog Training and a couple of them, and said, like, we need to set apart what we think about them, and we just need to look at what they're doing really well. And what they're doing really well is connecting with people, using language that they understand, and just keeping it really, really simple. And there were a couple of faces in the room that were like, oh my God. And then there were people going, I absolutely agree. I have adopted marketing approaches the same, but for my version of that. And, you know, it kind of opened up the discussion. It could have gone either way, really, couldn't it? But it kind of opened up that discussion to go, do you know what? Respect where respect is due. Like, we need to see past it sometimes.
I don't think there's anybody, I can't believe you're going to make me say this. First of all, Jacob, I hate you. So just get that out of the way. He's off social media now, so he won't catch this. Nobody has done what Jacob has done. I've been watching Jacob from the same lens. I watched him like coming up and, he was more doing the classic dog training thing, like, going after Zach George and really, pushing up the balanced narrative. And I think when he got out of the dog training piece and just started focusing on how do I market effectively, he took off. And it's really interesting to watch him because he's changing a lot of things. He's got a podcast. It's probably the #1 dog training podcast, and he barely talks about dog training. It's just him and his funny banter with Ian eating tiramisu, and it's very just casual, and you kind of feel like you're broing down with, dog trainers, and, that's his podcast. And then you watch his marketing vehicle and you see how successful his videos are. Like, for people that are watching Jacob, the one thing you have to recognize is that he's growing while marketing. And those two things are really hard to do. So, curating and converting, but also all his videos keep touching more people, and he's growing more followership while he has this effective marketing vehicle like locked in. And that's the sweet spot for like really doing something and scaling in dog training, is if every video is going viral, but every video is also funneling to, a particular service. And then meanwhile, he's also doing well on the long form content with YouTube, and that thing is blowing up. That's its own thing. And that thing is doing well, and it's going hand over fist. And now he's raking in the YouTube paycheck. I don't think there's been a person to do that simultaneously. And I think it does take Jacob stepping out of the building and stepping off of the leash and spending 100% of his time and focus on, how do I take these elements of effective marketing and PR and bring it to dog training? And so if anybody's watching Jacob, watch, because you could really learn from how he formats his videos. You could really learn from his copywriting. Like, if I were to say, the best thing that he does is, and for those who don't know the term copywriting, it simply means the words that you use when you make a post, the script that you use when you make a post. But Jacob is best in class for copywriting. There are no wasted words. You get lulled in. He teaches you something. His team now teaches you something. And then there's this smooth, easy, like, hey, get a free webinar. Let me send you this. Hey, it's no big deal. And it's a masterclass in like what it takes to grow an audience, but also convert off of that ever growing audience. So I have a lot of respect for him. And I think also seeing him jump out of the vehicle and just be himself, with his friend Ian, who's a really good guy too. And just watching them kind of, talk very casually on their podcast, and, you kind of feel like you're in the room with them. I think that's pretty cool. Like, I can't think of another time that somebody has become that big of a name that quickly, but also stayed true to like, hey, here I am. This is what I do.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and humour's such a big part of what he does anyway, isn't it? It's like, if it's entertaining, like, we have forgotten that social media should be funny, it should be entertaining, it should hook us in. And if there's so much of everything around, if that's the thing that hooks you in the first place, and, pretty much he was always around that humour part, and then he's taken that as a spin-off and kind of put it into something else, fair play. Because we want our own TV show one day, and there'll be a lot of humour in it.
Yeah. I think he pushed the boundaries back a little bit. When he first started speaking his mind and kind of like just saying everything he wanted to say on the podcast, the first time he started doing it, I went, oh, he's going to get canceled. Because he came in at a time where you had to watch what you say, or the crowds of people, like the angry mob was going to light torches if you like colored outside of the lines at all. And he just kept doing it and kept doing it. And I think now, I'm like, right, wrong, or indifferent, I think he's given people an air of like I can be funny. I can just kind of say things and not have to worry. And so I think he's also let the industry know, like, it's okay to just chill out and have a laugh. And it's okay to, be a little rash, or, use a word that may not be PC. Like, let's get back to like just being humans alongside of being a dog trainer. So I think I credit his podcast to that too.
Yeah, and I love that. And I love that we're able to like shout out people that are doing well. Because again, I think we live in a world now where it's easy to just tear people down all the time. And again, you don't have to agree with how somebody trains dogs and go deep into the methodology, but you can still give credit where credit is due. And it's lovely to be able to do that. what was coming up for me then, there was something I was thinking about, and I think it's just this whole, oh, that was it. It's the thought process of, I think sometimes for a lot of dog trainers out there, it's this belief system that we almost have to go really big on socials. Like, if you're going to do socials, you have to do the big thing, and you have to have the podcast, and you have to have the book, because the people that we are inspired by, they are doing those things. But actually, there is a high percentage of people out there, I would say, that, you know, and I say just not with any meaning behind it, but they just want to be a local dog trainer. And if I can have a handful of clients that ticks the bills over, that allows me to do the thing that I love, then I'm good with that. And I think this is where the pressure comes in again of, I need to have something that I don't really want, and I don't know how to build that small, again, without it being a demeaning word, but I don't know how to build the thing that I actually want because it's not the big thing.
Well, their version of it, whatever that version is.
I think if you can, so for those people, I envy them. I really do. Like, I was literally with my wife the other day, and she goes, do you know, like, if you really think about it, there's dog trainers out there that don't know anything about what's going on with dog training and social media, that haven't a clue. And I was like, oh my God, I envy those people. But, you know, it's true. Like, if you can just stay true to like what you want to do. So I think most dog trainers want to help, especially when you get into like the behavior world, you know, and you're working all these crazy dogs, and there's so much stuff going on with them, and you find the unlock to help them and think better and feel differently. And you feel like that could help more people and more clients. There is this intrinsic desire to want to help more and more people. Like, if you're really in it to like remove limitations and come in after something tragic happened with a client and their dog, like, there is this like humanitarian, like, I just want to help people. And so you take that and the teaching component, really staying true to like what social media is, it's just connectivity. And so it grants you the opportunity to help more people. And if you can stay true to that, I think that's where you build the personal brand. That's where you get to be yourself with your own personality and your own sense of humor. But you swing true with, I just want to help. I want to reach people, and I want to give them this thing that I learned. I want to show them this thing that I can do that potentially could save their life, that potentially could save their dog's life, right? And so if you can just stay true to that, then you don't have to worry about the rest. And most importantly, what a great thing, because then people connect to what's important to you. Like, branding isn't just about, okay, guys, I have a nice personality and I'm really funny. Like, branding is about people recognizing what's different about you, right? And so if you can just stay close to what is most important to you, then your audience is going to connect to the right thing, the core you.
Yeah. And I think people, when they get the validation that that's okay and you don't have to do all the stuff that everyone else does, and you can just be your version of what that feels like and what that's good for you, it's like a massive weight comes off their shoulders. Like, we're coaching people through this to go, it's fine. If you don't want that, and you don't want to be on social media every day, and you don't want that huge business, that's okay. And you can almost see the relief on them, can't you? And just go, thank God you've said that, because that's what I was hoping you'd say. We're like, yeah, it's fine. But yeah.
Yeah, I think if you can recognize the forest for the trees on social media, if you can stop, you know, watching people to find reasons to hate them, or recognize that if somebody's got a large following, you watch their videos a certain way and you're like, ugh, like, it probably comes from a place of like, hey, come on, like, there might be some jealousy there. There might be some insecurity there. Like, drop that for a second. Get to know these figureheads, if you will, these big names in the industry, and watch their presence on social media and find out what's different about them. Because as much as we talked about, like, you know, Yorkshire, you do have the Kim Brophies, you know, that are completely different. And you listen to Kim Brophy's podcast, and it's like so educational and so personal. And you've got the Joe Rosies, you know, the people that are like incredible and so elevated and use science in such a functional way. And so, you know, finding everybody's genius might also be the pathway to figuring out where you might fit in that space. You know, but you've got to recognize what makes someone else awesome sometimes before you can start to unearth what might make you awesome in that same space.
Yeah. And the other thing we do a lot is encourage people to look outside of the industry and look at who they love. Why do you love those people? Why do you watch them? Why do you make an effort to watch their stories on Instagram? What is it about them that is pulling you in and giving you that desire to connect with those people? And sometimes it's literally just take yourself out of that dog industry for a minute and use that. And we are so in it sometimes that we just find that a really hard thing to do.
Yeah, I do that all the time. You know, I interviewed, I'm going to butcher her last name, Melody Uda.
Uda,
yeah. I watched a social media person named Dr. Ids for a really long time on TikTok. And he was basically this PhD, and he just went after the fitness industry and just started using peer-reviewed studies and debunking all the bull crap that the fitness influencers are putting out all day long on their social media, like the fallacies and like completely incorrect bull crap. Sorry. And I said to myself, like, oh man, if somebody came into the dog training industry and did what he did, they would take off. And literally 3 years later, Melody came in and was like, hey guys, here's what you think about dog training. Here are 5 peer-reviewed studies that say that's completely crap, you know, and she took off. And lo and behold, like she made a name for herself. She works with Michael Ellis now. And so you're absolutely correct. Like recognizing what makes someone successful outside of our niche and kind of seeing that can actually be a competitive advantage, because more often than not, it's not happening in our niche industry. And so you might have a light bulb moment and go, oh my God, and bring it into our industry. And now you're different. And now you're a breath of fresh air. And now everybody's watching.
It's kind of nice full circle, actually. I'm going back to how we started this and going, let's think about what it is we want to do with our business. Like, what's that vision that we have for it? How do we see ourselves operating in this space? What version of ourselves do we want to be? Who do we want to learn from? Where can we open our minds to learn something different and either agree or disagree with it, but be able to take something from everything and be able to implement it in a way that feels right for you as an individual based on your vision as well.
Yeah, I mean, you got to find yourself, but you also have to realize that you're a human. You're going to continue to grow. You know, how many of us have watched a post that we did 6 months ago or a year ago and like, oh my God, I can't believe I said that. Like, I get the ick just from stuff that I said 6 months ago, or I'm like, oh God. But that's a symptom of like, I'm growing and I'm learning and I'm human, you know, and I make mistakes and I win, I lose. And so unfortunately, that's the gift and curse of social media, is that if you want to be yourself, like you got to, you know, be prepared to continue to be yourself. And that doesn't mean something static or stagnant. You're going to continue to learn and grow and head bump and make mistakes. And, you know, you just got to be comfortable in your own skin and get ready, because it's a wild ride, you know, but I think at the end of the day, like I said before, it's worth it. Like you don't have to put a face on, you know, and you can, you know, market your business and you can scale your business and you can connect with people. And I think there's a lot of people out there, and this is crazy if you really think about it, but my followers know more about what's going on in my life than my close friends.
I think we'd agree. We'd say the same. Yeah.
And they probably know me better than some of my older closest friends, because I'm kind of different. I'm different now. I've been your friend for 15 years and I'm unrecognizable to who I was 5 years ago. And so now it's kind of a weird thing where this parasocial relationship truly knows you. But I don't know, that connection, I don't know, I think it's an important connection. And, you know, I'm happy that I get to connect with people like that.
I feel like there needs to be a shout out to your t-shirt as well on here for those people who are not watching this. So Josh's t-shirt's got garbage pail trainer on it. I feel like you need to go and watch this on YouTube just to see it, because that just says everything you've just been saying there. It kind of says it in a t-shirt.
It's great.
Yeah, I made this t-shirt. So yeah, I'm a creative. I love creating. And so I did start a novelty t-shirt company, and I put out funny dog t-shirts. And what's really funny is that my wife, when she sees me making t-shirts on the computer, she knows I'm a little stressed. So I'll actually create t-shirts when I'm feeling a little bit stressed. I'll unplug from the business and I'll make something really funny, and it probably won't sell at all, but I'll wear them every single day.
It's great. It's a great little outlet.
Yeah, it is. Well, I mean, we could keep talking and there are lots more things we could talk about, but we are going to wrap this up. But before we finish, where can people find out more about you? There is, I know for a fact, the podcast, the book, like do a shameless plug for that. So yeah, where can they go? Big.
Huge.
I accidentally sent 2 copies to Michael Shikashio. He's like, what do you want me to do with my second copy? I'm like, defend your home with it. Keep it.
It's a weapon.
But it's everything I've learned in 5.5 years, how I look at behavior, how I fix reactivity. It's got, 27 different styles of reactivity and aggression, and how to identify it, how to assess it, and then how to roadmap it. And so it is, pretty much everything I know about fixing dogs. And so it got published a month ago. So I would love if people would check it out on Amazon. You can find the link on my link tree on any of my social medias.
We'll pop the link in the show notes as well for you.
We'll do a plug for you because it's an awesome book.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you ever so much for joining us. It's been delightful. I've never used that word.
No, you haven't. That seems very
sounds really
polite.
weird. Don't like
Seems
it.
very British, actually.
Yeah. Ooh, no,
It's
don't
not
like
us
it.
at all.
Let's reframe it.
It's been fucking awesome.
There you go.
That's better.
That's more us.
I've had
Thank you so much.
time.
Yeah, some 2 biscuits. Thank you so much, Josh.